Today we're checking out the RedRock TCX HD Front Bumper for the 2014 to 2021 Tundras. If you're looking for rugged functionality, enhanced protection, and a bold off-road ready style, this robust bumper delivers on all fronts, and it's definitely worth checking out. This front bumper gives your Tundra a rugged, modified, off-road ready appearance that really helps you stand out from that stock look. It replaces the front bumper using those factory mounting points and includes a recessed splash guard for even more protection. It comes with two 3-inch square LED cube fog lights, providing both form and function. Crafted with high quality LEDs that emit bright 6,000 Kelvin light and they're IP67 rated, these cubes offer powerful illumination and dependable waterproof performance. Overall, this is a solid steel aftermarket bumper that really helps you stand out on the road and will definitely catch your friend's attention next time you pull up in your Tundra, all while offering superior strength and protection over the long haul. When it comes to the construction, the RedRock TCX HD bumper is built tough from thick steel plating and reinforced with tubular steel. It's finished using an epoxy pre-coating and then a textured black powder coat finish to resist corrosion and stand up in rough environments and everyday wear and tear. The result is a durable and functional upgrade that is as practical as it is good looking. Now, as far as the pricing goes on this, it's coming in right around that mid $600 price range. Considering that heavy duty construction, integrated lighting, and enhanced protection, it's a really solid value for serious Tundra owners. When it comes to the installation, this is rated only a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and you can have this installed in just 2 hours of your time. Now let's head on out to the shop and we're gonna give you a detailed walkthrough of exactly how this install process goes.
For this install, we're going to be using a 3/8 impact, various extensions, a 17mm wrench, a 14mm wrench or ratcheting wrench, a 17mm swivel socket, 17mm socket, a 14mm socket, 10mm socket, the supplied Allen wrenches, and a electric 3/8 ratchet or a standard ratchet. Today we're going to be installing a front bumper on our Tundra, but first we're going to watch a quick uninstall video of our factory bumper. We're going to meet you here when you get back.
First thing we're going to do is, now that we have our vehicle up, now we're using a lift. If you're at home, you want to jack your vehicle up, make sure you use jack stands to properly secure your vehicle. We're going to start by removing this push pin, these two 10mm and one 13mm back here. Once we get those off, then we'll be able to lower our splash guard. So we're going to get started. Now I'm going to take my clip removal tool and remove that push clip. Now that we have that out, I'm going to take my 10mm and remove these two bolts here on my impact gun. So now that we have our two 10mm out, we have our push clip out, we have 3 more bolts, one here, and one here. We have one that's a little different size because ours has been apart a bunch of times, but the rest of these up top here in the front are 12mm. So we're going to remove them with our gun and our 12mm. Now I'm just going to hold this up and remove the last one. I came on this side so I could take a look at it. You're going to have to just lift up and slide it over to your left, and then it should come down. It's kind of got hooks in it that hold it in. And now that we have this removed, we'll go on to our sides and start removing our splash guards. Okay, next what we're going to do is remove our splash guard. We're going to remove these 4 10mm. We have a plastic clip back there and 2 12s and another 10 underneath. Well, first we'll concentrate on these. So I'm going to take my ratchet and 10mm and remove these 4 bolts. Now we have those done, we'll get back there and remove that clip. Now I'm going to take my clip removal tool, get inside here, and pop our plastic clip out. Next, we'll go under the bottom and remove our two 12mm and the 10mm, holding our splash guard on. Now we're going to remove our two 10mm underneath here, followed by our two 12mm. I'm going to take my ratchet, my 10mm socket. Now that we have our two 10mm, I'm going to go into removing our two 12mm, taking my 12mm socket and ratchet. Now that I have those two removed, we should be able to remove our shield and our wheel well, and it should just come off pretty much just like that. Now you're going to want to repeat the same procedure on the other side. So now we're going to remove our two electrical connections for our fog lights. There's one here, there's a clip here we're going to have to remove with our clip tool, and there's one up here that we're going to have to disconnect. So I'm going to start by unplugging our fog light, squeeze the tab, pull that off. I'm going to take my clip removal tool and pull that clip out. And then I'm going to go up in here and disconnect this by pushing the tab in and pulling out our harness. And now that we have that disconnected, we're going to move on to removing our tow hooks. Now we're going to disconnect our toe tabs by removing these two 17mm bolts right here. I'm going to take my 17mm on my gun and remove these two bolts. Just going to want to repeat that same procedure on the other side. Next, we're going to loosen the 4 bolts, 3 out here and 1 in here for our bumper brackets. I'm going to take my 14mm ratcheting wrench, get in here and loosen these up. I'm going to remove them all but one and just run one all the way out, but keep threads on it so that the bumper does not fall. And that's pretty good right there. Now we'll get the one on the inside. Now you're going to want to repeat the same procedure on the other side. So now we got everything unhooked. We're going to remove our bumper. I got Joe giving me a hand because this baby's pretty heavy. So we're going to grab it and take it off. Just like that.
All right, now that we have our factory bumper removed and off, we are going to start off by taking off the shipping bolts from our wing so we can then unfold it and have it in the correct position to be put onto our vehicle. The supplied bolts is a 10mm hex bolt with a lock washer and a flat washer. We're just going to put these bolts in opposite ends. You might want to line this up and hold it in position to get it started. Now we're going to take our impact with a swivel socket we swapped out from a regular socket because it's a little bit tight getting inside there. And just going to have those tighten down, and then we're going to repeat the same steps for the other side. All right, now we're going to be installing the bracket onto our fog light assembly. First thing we're going to do is the bolt slides in the back end right here. We're going to drop it down and kind of make it flat, and then we're going to install our bracket right on top. And what I found works best is kind of holding it to the side and getting it in there, and then you start tightening it. May have to jiggle around the nut inside there a little bit. Then we're going to use our supplied Allen wrench and secure that loosely so we can then move on to the other side. Then you want to get it adjusted to the right spot and then tighten everything up. All right, now we're going to install our fog light pod onto the bumper with the attached hardware. So we're going to slide this bolt up and through into the bumper and let it sit there. Then we're going to take our lock washer first and then our nut. And this is adjustable. You can move it to wherever you please. We're going to switch to a 13mm wrench to tighten up the bracket to the bumper. And you want to hold the pod steady wherever you need to adjust it so that way it doesn't spin on you. All right, now that you're done tightening up the pod on the passenger side, you're going to repeat for the other side. All right, now we're going to be attaching our bracket to the bumper. This is upside down, so we are going to want to make sure and double check our orientation on where we're installing it. This is going to the driver's or to the vehicle side, and this is sticking outwards. We're going to use our 10mm hex nuts along with our 10mm hex bolts to attach to the bumper. Slide our lock washers on along with our flat washer. Let that sit there. All right, now we're going to use our 17mm socket with a 17mm wrench to tighten this up. All right, after we get this side tightened up, we're going to repeat for the other side. All right, now we're going to be installing our bottom support bracket with our 10mm hex bolt and washer. And use our 17 wrench and socket. And we're going to repeat for the other side. All right, next we're going to be installing our splash guard on the bottom of the bumper. Have it situated in here right now. There is rivets to screw in and thread in. We're going to use our 8mm button head bolts to get this in there and lined up. I like to start off on the opposite side, so that way we keep everything nice and level. And then we're going to tighten down with our supplied Allen wrench. All right, now we're going to get this bumper onto the truck. Install the bumper onto the vehicle. You may need assistance of a friend to help you out with to mount this on there. All right, once that's mounted on, it can kind of just sit there until you get some bolts mounted up there. Installed a nut and washer just to secure the bumper onto the vehicle. We're going to go ahead and continue installing the rest of the nuts and the washers onto our factory mounts. We are also using the factory nuts that came off of with the vehicle. And you may not be able to see, but there is another one on the opposite side of those 3 bolts right there. All right, then we're going to use our 14mm ratcheting wrench or 14mm socket, whichever is easier for you. Let's get in there and tighten them down. Just to get that tightened down snug, you want to leave everything a little bit loose so you can get everything situated on the other side. And we're going to repeat the same exact process for the opposite side. All right, we loosened up our bottom mounting bracket a little bit so we can situate our tow hooks onto the bottom of the frame. We'll get 1 bolt started in the rear. Let that hang. Get our front one started. We'll make sure everything's lined up, and then we're gonna use our 17 millimeter on our impact and tighten it down. Then we can move on to our front bolts and tighten those up too. All right, after you made some adjustments by leveling out your bumper and moving from side to side, you're gonna wanna come back and tighten each bolt that you did move and also re-secure your bolts to the frame. And then you're gonna repeat for the other side. All right, next we're going to attach our factory skid plate back onto the frame of the vehicle. Now there are these hooks here that you have to lift up into the frame and then slide over left or right depending on which direction you're facing. And once those are hooked, you can let this hang down and make your way to your bolts. All right, now that we got our skid plated, mounted up on the backside, I went ahead and attached a bolt in the rearmost position. I like to put a bolt on my extension and kind of get it hand tight. There is a mounting bolt right here. And then we can move on to our next bolt. And we can use our impact with our 12 millimeter socket to get that tightened up. And then you're gonna go ahead and tighten up all the remaining bolts. All right, now we're moving on to the wire harness for our fog lights that come on the bumper. We're gonna start by loosening our positive and negative, and we're gonna attach the positive to the lead first. With our 10 millimeter ratchet, we're going to attach that on there, get the nut back on, go ahead and secure that back up. All right, you're going to make sure your battery terminals are nice and secured and tight. And I already previously installed the relay block to the body of the vehicle. You can mount that anywhere you choose. This was just the best location for us. Now we're going to move on to the wire harness for the fog lights. We're going to try and route these best as possible. The main thing we're going to keep away from heat sources and fan blades. All right, for the best route that I found possible, I'm going to lay the fog light harness for the passenger side down under the foam of the rad. Tuck that in there, get that secured, and then we're going to find a best place possible to drop our harness for the fog light. And then we're going to reach down, pull it through. All right, once we have our wire harness down and through our frame and our bumper support, we're now going to connect the fog light harness to our fog light wire. And again, you're going to still have some excess wire that you're going to need to tuck and hide away. Again, keep it away from any heat sources or any moving parts. Then we're going to repeat the same exact process for the other side. All right, next we're going to take our switch harness wire and we're going to feed it through any grommet that we can find going through the firewall. The easiest location we found is closest to the driver's side. We're going to fish that through there. All right, once you got that mostly in, you might have some extra wires. Again, you're going to need to tuck them away, and we're going to move on to the inside so we can pull that wire through. All right, once we've located our harness through our firewall, we're going to reach up and pull it through as much as we can. All right, once we have our harness most of the way through, we can then start working on connecting our on-off switch. Now we're going to take our supplied power switch and connect it to our harness. Then we're going to remove the adhesive backing and mount it in a location where you please. We're going to put it for our easiest spot right here. Now that you have your switch mounted to the location that you need, you can take any extra wire, zip tie it, and move it out of your footwell. All right, that wraps up our install of our RedRock TCX HD Front Bumper for your 14 to 21 Tundra. And just remember, for all things Tundra related, keep it here at ExtremeTerrain.com.